Hello and welcome everyone to the Masters of Wellness podcast. We're going to delve into longevity and biohacking, two topics that are changing how we think about health and aging. What is the definition of biohacking? In plain English, biohacking is really about making small, intentional changes to our lifestyle, nutrition, or environment, often through self-experimentation to feel better and live longer. You don't need a lab coat or fancy equipment. Sometimes it's as simple as tracking your sleep, adjusting your diet, or trying a new mindfulness practice. The key is tuning in to what actually works for your body, not just following trends or waiting for permission from the experts. Start with one thing, maybe a daily walk, a new supplement, or better bedtime routine, and see how you feel. That's the heart of biohacking, small steps, personal results.
Welcome to the Masters of Wellness podcast, your ultimate path to holistic health, wellness, and success. Discover the powerful fusion of Eastern wisdom and Western science, designed to balance your mind, body, and spirit. Our channel brings you holistic wellness practices, effective strategies to boost productivity, and insights on stress reduction and active aging. Join our global community and transform your life with holistic wellness. Cheers to a healthier, happier you.
I'll kick things off with a quick story. I enjoy running. I used to listen to loud music through my headphones when I was running, but I found I was getting aches and pains in my body. My performance was not very good. I wasn't enjoying running because it felt like I had to listen to music to be able to complete the run. Somebody recommended to me, don't listen to music, listen to your body. So I went for a run with no music, and all I did was listen to my footsteps, listen to my breathing, and listen to the environment around me. And it completely changed how I feel about running, and also changed my performance and the results I was getting from running. So now when I go running, I really look forward to it. No music at all. The music is the pounding of my feet and the breathing of my breath and my heart rate. So I felt that I'd hit a plateau before that. And the reason was I was listening to kind of the same tracks of music. I had like a 30-minute compilation, and it's all set, the beats per minute. So I was running to the beats per minute, and therefore my result was pretty much always the same. But as soon as I stopped the music and then started to feel my body and thought, can I run faster? Can I improve my cadence? I quickened my pace, and I found, well, I shaved off 20 seconds off that kilometer. And so if I repeated that, then it would improve. And then I worked on my breathing as well. So I breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that allows me to maintain the cardiovascular requirement, like the oxygen requirement, based on the speed. So as I was running faster, my breathing was matching that and becoming faster as well. So I was getting the oxygen that I need. Most people, when they start running, the first 1 kilometer, like the first 3 to 5 minutes, something like that, is where people go into oxygen debt, and it feels terrible. You know, people start running and then they stop. Oh my goodness, it's so difficult. And then they try again and they go into oxygen debt, and so then they stop. But if you just break through that small little barrier, like that 1 kilometer, that 5 minute, 6 minute mark, where you're going into oxygen debt, if you just slow down a little and then concentrate on your breathing and get that oxygen level up to where you need, then the rest of the run becomes very easy. And you can run for a long time after that. So that was a simple little biohack for me, was breaking through that oxygen debt and being able to improve the cadence for the running. And then I passed that on to a lot of clients and other people as well. Now I do a running challenge. I've been doing it for like 13 years or something, 50 kilometers a month, every month for like 13 years. Never missed a month, even during COVID, traveling to Minneapolis in minus like 30 degrees Celsius in the snow, in the summer. No matter what the weather or temperature is or where I am in the world, I always maintain that discipline. And that maintaining that discipline has been a life-changing thing for me as well, that no matter what is going on in my life, I'm disciplined enough to continue that challenge. And I may have mentioned before, my mum, Biba, she has done the same thing for the exact same amount of time as me as well. So every time we do our run, like today I finished 10 kilometers for the month. It's like only the 3rd of July here. So I've already finished the first 2 runs. I sent my screenshot to Biba and she replied back, yep, she's going out for her run today as well. So that little bit of accountability with someone else on the other side of the world also helps a lot as well.
That's beautiful. And I'd imagine too, you're probably getting, without the music, it's probably more meditative to you, for you to run as well. The aspect and the experience of running for you probably has turned into not only helping your body, but helping your mind too when you don't have music.
Yeah, and I'm very fortunate to be able to run in some spectacular locations. Like when I first started this I was living on the Gold Coast, Australia. That's like the California of USA. So imagine running along the boardwalk of California or Santa Monica Pier, something like that. That was where I started running. And I was listening to music, so I wasn't paying attention to all of this beauty around me. So when I dropped the music and then started to pay attention to the beauty and environment around me, that in itself was energizing. And then traveling to different countries, like I've run in Italy, I've run in Croatia, in USA, Canada, Indonesia, like you name it. Like everywhere I go, I'm still doing this running every month. So that in itself is just such an immersive and beautiful experience to be able to capture that and take it in, and not waste it by just listening to some hard rock music and then completely ignoring all of this beauty that's around you. And where I am at the moment, I'm in Guangzhou, China. I live very, very close to a very beautiful lake. And at the top of the mountain, there's this temple. So I get to see this beautiful lake and the nature and the Chinese people like doing their Tai Chi and Gong Fu and looking at the temple. Like there's so much incredible, energizing environment around me to capture from the experience as well.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Ed, I think that you are actually talking about a broader hack that you did not point specifically to, that would have been one that I was going to share anyway. So I think that you're talking about a hack of where your thoughts go, your energy flows. And in yoga, we teach about sending the breath to the sensation, right? So if in running, for instance, if you're out running and your quads are feeling tight or tired, because you're so present with your breath and with your own energy, you can tell your breath when you pull in that 4-second breath count, you can tell it to go to your quadricep. And the reason it's burning is because it's lacking oxygen. And we can simply tell our breath where to go, and you will actually find relief. Or you were talking about paying attention to your footsteps, like because you are, and the temple and these doing Tai Chi, because your thoughts are free of the music. Before, when you were listening to music, you were sending your thoughts to it. But now you freed up that thought space, and you can think about the footsteps, controlling the breath, sending the breath somewhere, because even the breath in itself is a hack, right? You talked about paying attention to the breath because people are winded a lot. And again, that's another yogic practice that I'm, counting and pulling in my breaths, which are energizing me and giving me somewhere to put my thoughts, right? And now I can take that same breath and send it out to the muscles that are in need, but only because I'm so present with my breath and I'm linking breath to movement. Because you may find that when you're taking those steps that you said you can now even count, it's like you might notice that you take 4 steps on the inhale and 4 steps on the exhale. And we're linking our breath with our movement, which is another hack, because that's the number one thing that people that are working out or doing something strenuous are doing, is they're holding their breath. And so it's actually a hack just to be conscious of breath, right? And then to link our thoughts to where we want them to go. So I'm going to send my breath into the place of need. So I think you're talking about a bigger biohack than you even realize.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that, Kerry. One of the things that happens when you push yourself for running, as you know, is you start to get lactic acid buildup. And the enemy of lactic acid is oxygen, right? So if you oxygenate your body and you push that oxygen to the muscles of the body, which happens to be the legs or the quads or the calves, at that time, if you are mindful and you push the oxygen to those areas of your body where you're getting that lactic acid buildup, then absolutely you can disperse that and help to reduce the lactic acid buildup as well. So, Carrie, like based on that, obviously you've had some incredible experiences with biohacking your life and the lives of people around you. One thing that I have found is biohacking is quite personal. It's not just here's a biohack, everyone should do it, because it doesn't work for everybody, but it is quite personalized. So what are some of the personal biohacks that you've experienced and that you've maybe seen other people use that have been beneficial as well?
Yeah. One of the main biohacks that I use that a lot of the people in my life have found a lot of benefits from as well is coffee enemas. And yes, this is actual coffee and an actual enema. This is a particular type of coffee. We want blonde coffee. We want mold-free coffee. And so we want the right kind. But the reason that I do coffee enemas is because it is a powerful biohack for dumping the liver, for cleaning the bile, for purifying the blood, and for circulating energy through the liver. And one of the main ways that I've used that for biohacking, I would just say every time using it is a biohack. And I'll explain what's happening in just a second. But one of the main ways I've used it is if I've ever been sick. When I'm sick, our blood, if everything is happening in the cells and it's spilling out essentially what our body feels like is poison to us. That's why we feel, sick. We call it that because we're detoxifying these cells and they're spilling all of this detoxification out into the blood, and it needs to process out of our body. So when we're sick, it's going to come out through the lungs and the skin, the urine, the feces is going to come out in every way possible. And so one of the ways that I can help to speed healing or alleviate some of those really strong symptoms is I can help to move it out of the body really powerfully. And that is through a coffee enema. So when we do a coffee enema, it's actually a really cool hack. Now, it is all hinged on having the right kind of coffee. There is an acid in a blonde coffee that it's like an activator. It activates when we put it in, it catches a ride through a port that's on the side of the descending colon. And that port goes all the way through to the liver. And so when we put this blonde coffee in our anus and we retain it, it's doing a couple things. The first thing it's doing is going straight to the liver and to the gallbladder. And when it arrives there, that acid is telling the gallbladder and the liver to speed up everything very quickly. And it takes the blood from moving through the liver at about a rate of 7 minutes per cycle. It takes it down to about 3 minutes per cycle. So the blood is going through the liver, which is the detoxifier, very, very quickly. But that acid is also activating the gallbladder to dump large amounts of bile. In fact, I've seen numbers that are astronomical, like 500% or 1,000% increase on bile. And what happens is our bile, our little gallbladder is hanging off of our liver. It looks like a little pinky, and it's holding inside of it bile. And bile is essentially like very thick, almost like liquid dish soap. And it's designed to break down fat soluble vitamins, all the fats that you eat. And what happens is it gets recycled. Your body's intelligent. It recycles, it stores in this gallbladder. It's going to excrete it. It's going to pull it back in. And that bile can become really toxic and filthy over time if our liver isn't doing its job. It's not doing its job because we have unhealthy lifestyles. We're eating processed food and lots of coffee and sugar, and we have stress, we have anger, all these things that are affecting the liver. So when we hold in that coffee enema and we speed the blood up to running through the liver every 3 minutes, and we deposit enormous amounts of glutathione. I did not say that. That's what's being increased radically, not just the bile, but extraordinarily high boost in glutathione, which is our natural detoxifier. So as the blood is going through the liver very, very quickly because of this process, we have this enormous amount of glutathione coming through, and we're dumping that old recycled bile and we're actually sending it out completely. And then the body is going to have to go in and replenish that bile with something new. So this is one of my favorite hacks in the world. It's like my super special time. I love sitting with a coffee enema. When you first hear it, you think, this is bonkers. She's saying hold coffee in your rear end. Yes, I am. And people love this so much. There's a famous American couple. They have a really embarrassing documentary about how they are addicted to doing coffee enemas. They actually make you feel so good and so clean and so pure But my favorite time to use them is if I'm sick or unwell, or if I had something going on in my system or in my blood that I could help that purification happen really quickly. So that's an unusual hack, but that is one that is just near and dear to my heart. I share often.
You've empowered me to make the leap, or shall I say, plug the hole, and I will report back, let you guys know what type of what type of sensations or
Yes.
benefits that it brought me. You mentioned that the coffee enema is one of your top three. What are the other two?
Salt is the most important, it's the number one biohack I have ever shared. Salt and potassium, I guess I would put them together. I mean, after all, they literally bind together in the blood to give your body electricity, make sure you have a heartbeat, make sure that you have the thoughts rolling around in your head. So salt is my number one. I'm the salt lady. Anybody that's ever in my presence gets their hand out and is expecting the salt. So that's my number one biohack. Salt, coffee enemas, and fasting. Fasting is absolutely in my top three. Fasting is one of the most important things we could ever do for ourselves. Fasting, easiest way is to get in ketosis. Ketosis and fasting go hand in hand. Of course, I'm talking about healthy ketosis, not talking about a free for all. Ketosis, which is very common, it will make it difficult to achieve your goals. But if you're in very healthy ketosis and fasting, it's one of the best things you could ever do. If nobody's thought about this, something that I've thought about deeply and I find fascinating, all human beings that have ever walked the face of the earth were born in ketosis, never had carbohydrates. So ketosis and fasting is actually our first system. A carbohydrate-based system is the second system, but we're meant to get in carbohydrates. This is part of human life. The breast milk has carbs. That's the first time we break ketosis is through the mother. So we're supposed to, but getting back into that state of ketosis, which leads directly to fasting, is the greatest biohack of all. If there's anything you are ever working on, it goes hand in hand with fasting. So your salt and potassium every day of your life, coffee enemas, and healthy ketosis and fasting are my three top biohacks. Those will carry me and anybody else for the rest of your life.
I was scared that the cancer didn't go away after my second surgery. I had a meeting, a nice personal meeting with Carrie, because I was scared out of my mind. It's amazing what fear will do for you. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes, most of the times, it's bad. But that fear made me, it led me to listen to Carrie. So I did the salt. Didn't do the coffee enema because I was waiting for it to show up. But I did the salt. I fasted, and then I found out I didn't have cancer. And guess what I did? I found out the cancer was gone. And guess what I did? Naturally, I stopped those things. Right.
Hmm.
So it's weird what the mind does. And I was like, oh, I don't need to force salt, because quite frankly, Carrie, the salt is really disgusting, right? Like there's a lot of salt at one time. So the coffee enema, uncomfortable. I would imagine. I haven't tried it yet. And then, fasting is not easy. So it's like we're giving people advice, and what's going to make them, the example of it, what's going to make them actually do it? I don't want to have to wait for some other health issue to happen for me to do these things. And most recently, I was telling Carrie that this past weekend I played baseball, old man hardball, with a wooden bat. So I'm not playing softball here. I caught in 96-degree weather, and I pitched a little bit, and I literally felt like I was going to pass out after about 5 hours of playing baseball. And first thing she asked me, she said, "Did you do salt?" I was like, no. That to me, that is like the opposite of what I should have done. I did bananas and water and Gatorade and liquid IVs. And I know that Carrie is going to tell me today, right now, that it's because I did not do my salt regimen.
Yep. That was it. When you sent me that text message, I sent you a little melting emoji. I just melted. I was like, you did Gatorade? What? What are we even doing here, Chuck? I've given you the keys to the kingdom. So yeah, so this is really important stuff. So the salt is the most, salt and potassium together are the most important thing. So we have five main electrolytes, right? We have sodium and chloride, which both come from high quality salt. And we have sodium, chloride, potassium, calcium, and magnesium are our five main electrolytes. And the two, within one we need the most in our human experience is potassium. And the second one we need the most is salt, which brings in the sodium and the chloride. And the potassium and the salt bind together in the blood to regulate all the things, your electricity, your nervous system, your heart rate, your breathing, everything is being regulated by that electrical current. And the potassium, like I said, this is the number one electrolyte that we need. My favorite way to look at this is actually how my husband had put this to me. I've been a potassium lady for a long time, and I like to I'll look up everything that I eat. If I eat a carrot, I might type how much potassium is in a carrot, how much is in an orange, how much is in beef, how much is in potatoes. And one thing my husband noticed after years of me investigating potassium, he said, whoa, everything that the creator made for us to eat has potassium. Okay. That's breathtaking because think about it. Not everything has fat, protein, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin K, all the things it doesn't have. But anything you Google that how much potassium is in XYZ from the earth or that ate from the earth that I ate is going to have some potassium. And to me, that's a huge indicator. We need a lot. They say the daily value that we need to intake is 4,700 milligrams. That is for regular folk. That ain't for people working out, working in the sun, those kind of things. So we need a lot of potassium to keep our heartbeat going. But the salt is a whole nother thing. So not only does it bind together with potassium, that sodium chloride is doing all kinds of things in your body. So every cell of your being has this sodium potassium pump, which is literally what opens up the cell to send in information and hydration into the cells. So if you don't have sodium and potassium, you're going to have a very hard time getting hydrated. But what's largely responsible is going to be that salt. If you do not have high quality salt in your body, you are not going to be able to pull hydration into your cells and you will be perpetually thirsty. And the most common thing that people that have ever felt a salt deficiency, and we all have felt it, can resonate with is if you've ever been in that state, maybe you've been out on a run, Ed, or you've been at the beach or on the golf course or playing baseball. Maybe you were gardening and you started to feel very thirsty and you felt like you were in a dream. You feel like your head is in the clouds and you're staring around in space and you just cannot get back in your body and you're drinking and drinking and drinking more water. It is never going to work, but it is continuing to dilute the minerals in your body, especially salt. And if you've ever driven in that condition, you're driving, the only thought I've ever had is this is worse than drunk driving. I do not feel like I'm in my body. When we take some salt, we will find that that feeling goes away in less than 1 minute. The moment that it hits the stomach, it's going to cross the blood barrier. The heart is going to, the lungs and the heart pick it up, circulate it very, very quickly. And you will be back in your body so quickly that you will forget what it felt like to be in that dream state. Do you guys resonate with being in that dream state? Have you ever been there?
I was just in it
Right?
this
You
past
can't get in
weekend.
your body after you've
Yeah.
been sweaty and hot. Right. Exactly. So it's salt. So I carry with me a baggie of salt. It is a ridiculous amount of salt I carry in my purse because if I was ever somewhere, if I'm leaving the beach and I am depleted, that salt goes in my hand, drink it straight down the hatch. And within a minute, I'm going to be safe to drive. It works so well that until you experience that, it's hard to believe like this is a salt deficiency. Once you get on salt, I've had people respond to beginning to take salt in their life with, oh my God, you turned me into a superhero. And like, yeah, because your brain had no electrical current. You felt terrible all the time. I've met too many people that told me their doctor told them to never, ever, ever, ever have salt. And I'm not a doctor. Okay, they need to still ask their doctor and still need to be careful. I don't know what medications they're on. I don't know anything about you. You need to be careful. You need to do your own research. But a lot of people I've met that have told me they haven't taken salt, some in years, they'll report to me that they pass out regularly. They feel terrible all the time. They do not sweat, guys. No sweating. I introduce them to salt and all of those problems disappear instantaneously. Okay. So salt is powerful. We need salt for creating stomach acid. It's just doing so much. And especially like we've mentioned, ketosis and fasting. Well, carbohydrates hold water. Okay. You make oatmeal, you make rice, you need a lot of water. If you remove carbohydrates from your diet, you are going to feel miserable without salt, because you won't be able to hold any hydration in. So especially when people are transitioning from a carbohydrate based lifestyle and they're moving into ketosis and turning into a fat based lifestyle, you removed all those carbs, and we have there what everybody knows as the keto flu, or people get this in detoxification, a detox flu. These things can be helped tremendously by taking high doses of salt. And the last thing I'm going to say before I turn it back to you guys is when we talk about how much salt, well, I can tell you there's a study that you can go look up. It was just completed in this last year. It was the largest study, I believe, ever done. And they looked at 181 countries, and they found that the healthiest people on earth ate a minimum of 5 grams of salt a day. 5 grams. Guys, that's about 2 teaspoons, roughly 1.5 to 2 full teaspoons of salt. So you can go read studies on that. I am not telling you to take 1.5. I want you to be safe. Don't take sea salt. The oceans are poisoned. Don't take white salt, and especially do not take iodized salt. That is just white salt plus chemical manufactured iodine. Is not helpful. We need high quality salts with a lot of trace minerals. Pink Himalayan salt has 84 trace minerals. If you're thinking, I'm healthy, I take Celtic salt. Guys, Celtic salt has 34 trace minerals. That is a spread of 50. So while Celtic salt is great for some variety, it's really great for cooking. When we're talking about getting 84 trace minerals, I think it's that we need 102 or 107. So 84 is pretty high up there. That's why I reach for those pink salts, because we need the salt and we need the minerals, and the minerals are the buffer for pulling the hydration into the cells, and you cannot get that with white stripped salt. So I have definitely run into folks that think I am selling them snake oil, telling them to take salt. They're afraid. I've actually had somebody that had not had salt in 30 years. They don't even buy salted food, which is actually a great thing. That the salt thing, it's actually been a huge benefit to us, because a lot of people think salt is bad. So they've started reducing salt in the foods that they're giving us, whether it a restaurant or prepackaged food. And I love that. I'll buy non-salted things all day long because I can add my salt to them and assure that I'm not having any bad salt. So I would choose unsalted peanut butter and rather stir in my own salt.
So far, we've covered 4 hacks. The last one that you mentioned was about fasting. Just give us like an overview of, explain fasting to a person that's never done it before, and how would they do that in a simple way without becoming too complicated that people don't want to do it.
Yep, perfect. So true fasting is quite simply the removal of food. We can stay drinking water. We just been through this whole topic. One of the things that I did not share about it, which is an example I use a lot of times, is how the water you're drinking is depleting the minerals from your system. But when we are in a state of fasting, our body is moving closer very quickly to what is called autophagy. If you have not heard of autophagy, it is the mechanism by which the cell cannibalizes itself. It actually, because you are not putting food into the body has to prioritize where it is sending calories. And any cell that is not healthy, whether it is a sick cell, a cancer cell, a toxic cell, anything that's not supposed to be in the body's going to say, oh my gosh, they are not giving me any calories and I cannot support these cells that are not healthy. And it will turn on a system called autophagy, which cannibalizes your cells. And it's actually a remarkable feature of your body when autophagy is happening. your body is actually digesting the cell into itself, and it's breaking it down into parts. It breaks it down into 3 parts: usable right now, fixable to use later, and trash. And it actually will repair, say, a protein that could still be used and send it somewhere else. Or if it's not fixable, it'll be eliminated completely from the body. So that is the reason we want to do fasting, is because when we are in a calorie deficit, the body gets into prioritizing and cleaning itself up very, very quickly. And then when we're going into fasting, we also just want to have a mindset of exactly how long am I doing this for? Am I just trying to meet a 24-hour fast, which is a great place to start? Fasting is something we want to build. And it is so important for me to put the caveat here: women should never, ever, ever be fasting during PMS. This is vital. So that is very important to know. If you are a cycling woman and you feel hungry and you feel tired, you actually need to honor that. You need to rest and not work out, and you need to eat food, especially carbohydrates, to build progesterone. But you want to predetermine how long your fast is going in. That is a tactic that will really help you. Like, I am going to make it to 24 hours, even if I have to take MCT oil and salt to make it. Maybe you're getting more advanced and you want a 3-day. If you want a 5-day, Dr. Pompa does amazing teaching on everything that is happening in those 5 days through autophagy and with your body and what that cleanup is happening. So that's a goal, is to get to a 5-day fast, but just starting with 18 hours or 24 hours and then elongating that over time. But if we just say, I'm going to see how long I could fast, you will not have the willpower to make it past 12 hours or 14 hours whenever you're normally hungry. You'll say, okay, well, I did a 14-hour. But if you had just set a goal, you could have gone a lot further.
Yeah, absolutely. And like in my experience, I've done a few, I guess, medium level fasting around 72 hours. And I learnt before I'd done it that around the 60-hour mark is where something special is happening to your body at that time, where something kicks in and suddenly you feel like unbelievable. Like leading up to 60 hours, you feel like shit. Like the first day is difficult. The second day is kind of okay. You get through it. You sleep a lot. But as soon as you're around that 55, 60 hours, something happens. Can you tell us about what's happening at that particular part of the fast?
Yeah, your brain is uptaking a lot of ketones and you are fully in autophagy at that time. So your brain, like we talked about earlier, you were born in ketosis, you were born a fat burner, and your brain runs on fat. And when you completely eliminate carbohydrates and you move fully into the fat burning system, you are putting so much fat in the brain. It is as your brain's favorite fuel source, and you feel absolutely amazing.
I would say the biggest thing for me is no gluten and dairy. Before today's episode, I wouldn't have called that a biohack. I would have just called that a dietary restriction, but ultimately that will help me live a lot longer and healthier life. So of course it's going to fall within that definition of biohacking. So no gluten and dairy for me. And I do O2 drops, tablets into my water. I used to put salt into my water as well, but so I will get back to that, but I'm actually going to go straight to the head with this and I don't know why I got away from it, but man, my body is telling me I need it for sure. I do a lot of red light therapy. My gym sessions used to be go to the gym, get out of the gym as quick as possible and just do weightlifting. And now it's red light therapy and sauna in addition to it. So I've gotten so much more fulfillment out of the gym, and going to the gym has taken a lot longer, but it actually, I'm doing the workout and the recovery together. So it's really mentally did a different shift for me when it comes to just the experience I'm having at the gym, because I'm getting able to sit down and meditate for the red light. I'm getting my workout in, and then I'm sitting down in the sauna to recover. So I'm sore for a lot less. And I'm getting so many other health benefits that come along with both red light and sauna that are complementing the weightlifting that I'm doing and the cardio that I'm doing. And then the other biohack that I would throw in there is grounding. So I sleep on a grounding mat, and that really helps with stress and my body just being able to be connected to the earth. Even though I could just go step on the earth for a little while, I'm actually sleeping on the earth. So I'm getting about 7-8 hours of connection to earth every single night.
Nice. And just going back to the first one, like, how do you describe physiologically what has happened when you reduce gluten or some of the other dietary restrictions or whatever that you've done? Like what did you physically or mentally feel significantly change?
I wish I could tell you that it completely changed how I felt. And Carrie would probably say, Chuck, you're not that in tune with your body. And she's probably not wrong. For me, the biggest difference was that I was 185 pounds when I just completely stopped gluten and dairy. This is coming from a young man who was a catcher and wanted to be a Major League Baseball player and did everything I could in the weight room and supplement wise to try to gain weight. And I wish I was 185 pounds in high school because I would have been knocking those home runs. So I felt like 185 pounds, like I didn't really have any fat, so to speak. I had a little bit of a belly, but not really. And so I would never have considered myself overweight at all. And then when I got off of gluten and dairy, it just so happened to be the reason I did it was because I found out I had thyroid cancer. So everybody, when I lost 20 pounds within like, I don't know, maybe 4 months, 6 months, everyone thought it was because of the cancer. And I was like, no, it's literally diet. So relax, I'm fine. But man, it just completely shredded me. And then for several months, I would be out and about talking about how I don't eat gluten and dairy. And I'd say the same thing. Like I didn't really feel much different. I don't really remember having any symptoms of the inflammation that gluten and dairy were causing other than what happened to my body that caused the disease. But my wife would constantly remind me, you were on 2 allergy pills every single day for like 5 years. And now you're on none. So your symptoms were being masked by the allergy pills. And ultimately now I don't need any allergy pills at all. I don't take anything, any at all. I might have once or twice a year, just pop a small little pill in there if I'm sneezing a bunch because of the outdoor allergies, but I was doing 2 a day. So that was the sign for me and the recollection for me that was the inflammation inside of my body that was causing all the outside sources, the dandruff from the cats. Like supposedly when I did an allergy test 4 years ago, because my allergies were insane, they're like, yeah, you're allergic to dogs and cats and pollen and all this other, like literally the list was like from here to here. And I was like, man, I can't even leave my house. So I was just taking 2 allergy pills a day. The next step was to be on allergy shots. So guys, if you have allergies, it's likely that it's not the outside circumstances that are causing that. It's likely right here because it was for me. Now, of course, doesn't mean it is for everybody. But especially if it comes out of nowhere, that's a really good sign that you have inflammation in your body. It was the biggest sign for me. So I lost a bunch of weight and I no longer have inflammation inside of my body that's causing the outside material things causing inflammation for me.
Chuck, I really wanted to ask you, what's your blood type? Do you know?
A positive. That's the only A+ I've ever gotten in my life.
I can tell by everything that you're saying. Yeah, right. Yeah, you're an A+. Yeah, a lot of what you're saying, dairy especially, is a big no-no for A blood types. It could be incredibly irritating. However, I'm pretty sure wheat is a neutral for an A blood type. And I wanted to give you an extra tip. Did you know that sprouted grain, all sprouted grain bread is a super beneficial for all blood types? Sprouted. So Ezekiel bread, that is a super beneficial for you. And you can buy Italian pasta and Italian flour. And that is exactly what we do in my house. And you buy Italian pasta right at Trader Joe's, organic Italian, and it won't bother you at all like that. So if you're looking for something or somebody's looking for something, there are options out there.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Carrie. And it's good that there are always alternatives to the things that we love. When you're told that you're not allowed to eat something or not allowed to drink something, it has a psychological effect on you. You always feel like you're missing out. But now, luckily, in this day and age, there are usually alternatives to all of the things that we love. So I like what you said about the Italian grains. That's good. That must have been the reason why I can enjoy pizza and pasta in Italy quite happily without having a bloated tummy. But when I eat the packet pasta here that you buy from the supermarket, it's a different story.
Anybody really, almost anywhere, if you can find a European food store, you can find some of these things without too much hassle.
We've covered 5 biohacks today. I think we're going to do another episode to go into some others, because there's many, many more for each of us to share. The first one that I shared was about mindful running or mindful exercise. So paying more attention physiologically and mindfully about what's happening to your body while you're doing exercise. You can have a lot more benefit from it. Your 3 biohacks that you shared was about the coffee time, the coffee fun time, the sodium and potassium, and about fasting. And then Chuck also shared about his experience with reducing or removing gluten from his diet. And we've also discussed that there are alternatives for him to be able to enjoy those favorite foods that he loves without having the inflammation from the gluten. So we can always find another way. So we've covered 5 there, Carrie. Just final wise words of wisdom to share with our audience before we wrap up, and then we'll say goodbye.
Listen to your body and think like an ancient.
I love it. Thank you so much, Carrie. Okay, well, have a wonderful week, and thank you everyone for joining and for following. So thanks a lot, Carrie, and thanks a lot, Chuck. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. See you soon.
Bye, guys.